Good morning, hockey fans. This is Stephen Heisler with HeisHockey.com, the Victorious Hockey Company, and the getting busy again junior hockey discussion group on Facebook. You are watching the Junior Hockey Morning Show. You can find us on the World Sports Broadcasting Network, WSBN.TV, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. Sorry, not Twitter, X, formerly known as Twitter, YouTube. Where else, Tommy? Is that it? Great. Today is Tuesday, July 29th. July 30th. Is that correct? There we go. So, in today's article, will not be popular with a lot of pay-to-play operators, especially within the North American 3 Hockey League. Probably not popular with the North American Hockey League at all, but it is this. If I were king, it would break the chains for players, especially between seasons. As it sits right now, if you are in the USHL, the North American Hockey League, North American 3 Hockey League, and it's the end of the season, you are stuck within that league to that team that you were on. Maybe the coach changes during the offseason. Maybe the coach got fired. Maybe promises were kept. Maybe the bill situation was a disaster. Whatever reason, if you want to remain in that league, you are at the mercy of that team. Now, for most operators and most teams, players are okay with going back. But the problem is players are not always happy with the team they were on. Things happen. Things change. Things develop. Maybe he's not getting along with the teammates, his billet father, the coach, the owner, whatever it is. Listen, coaches are not always honest. Situations do change. And one way to maintain standards, since tier standards are no longer part of the equation, used to be tier 1, 2, and 3 standards were in the USA Hockey Annual Guide. They're long gone. There are no such thing anymore. Leagues have to maintain standards. The problem is they're not published, and they vary from team to team. At the tier 2 level, let's say this. At the tier 1 level, we don't hear a lot of complaints. The USHL does things the right way. The USHL polices itself. You're not hearing a lot of complaints out of the USHL at all. Let's just say it. Haven't heard a complaint from a USHL team or player in years. The last complaint I heard was 2 or 3 years ago when a player was let go, was told to go home, wasn't utilizing practice ice, wasn't utilizing a billet, was sent home and was iced for over a month because the team was trying to get something for that player in a trade. In order to go to a lower level team, they wanted thousands of dollars. Meanwhile, that player is sitting home not getting any development at all, not what he signed up for. But that was the last complaint. Yeah, those kids in Omaha made a mess of things. I get it. I appreciate what they did. They came together as a unit and got what they deserved. That was good. But overall, especially since Glenn Heffron's been in charge of the USHL, complaints have been at the minimum. Cannot say the same thing for the 3HL or the North American Hockey League. The NAHL, for the most part, fantastic operation across the board, A to Z. Kenai River is the exception. There were some issues this last year with the Minnesota Wilderness. Otherwise, things were decent across the board. Some issues with the Generals, they got past that. But if you didn't want to return to Kenai or the Generals or the Wilderness or North Iowa, wherever you were pretty much SOL. You can go to the NCDC or you can go to Canada, the BCHL, and a lot of kids have moved up to the BCHL or moved out to the BCHL. The 3HL, it's been hit and miss. And it's at this level where we see the most problems. Of course, the Mid-City Stars are on hiatus. Hope we never see those guys again. Right now, it looks like the Austin Ice Bats are in a situation where they must win or be gone this year. They didn't make any changes at the head coaching position. That's still a train wreck. And I know players that wanted to get out of there and couldn't because the coach wants to trade them for something of value. And they must have players that want to go to Austin in exchange for another player. So that forces us as an advisory company to simply move outside of USA Hockey to a different league. The Eastern Hockey League, the USPHL, maybe the Vancouver Island Hockey League, because no one's going to give in to the demands of the Austin Ice Bats to force a different player, into that really cankerous situation. It's not fair. Also, drafting players doesn't make any sense anymore. Maybe it did years ago when we had standards, but without standards, forcing a player from Minnesota to go to Kenai River or to go to Corpus Christi or Danbury or Elmira doesn't make any sense. Can't force the kid to go somewhere. Can't force the kid to go to Kenai River where you have to pay to play to some extent. Doesn't make any sense. They'll go play somewhere else where they do want to go to. So maybe if we eliminate these things that lock up players' rights during the offseason, and maybe standards across the boards is raised in the process. No, I am not the king of hockey, but if I were, this is one area where absolute free agency for amateur players should be the norm. Listen, the USPHL, like them, hate them, or love them, at the premier and elite level, players are free agents at the end of the season and between seasons. They don't trade their rights from one team to another. They can go wherever they want to, and that absolutely works. It forces bad operators out of the game, or it makes them raise their standards to attract more players. Some guys simply don't care. I get it. All they're saying for the money, and that's okay. And they'll lose players year after year because they can recruit and they can elevate players, and that's the idea. Maybe some kids that were at elite might play for a substandard operator if it means they get to the premier. I get it, but it works. The USPHL is proving it. The Vancouver Island League is going to prove it. EHL, we'll see what happens there. All right, that's it for today. The bottom line is simple. Break the chains. Standards are raised. USA Hockey, you want to keep this system in place and put the standards back in place and hold teams and operators to the fire. Until you do that, let the bodies hit the floor. We're breaking the chains with or without you. That's it for today. Hope that you enjoy your morning coffee and have a great day in hockey.